of history's embrace. Captain's quarters sets the pace with Captain Mayhem at the helm. A voyage of knowledge, a story to round. Captain's quarters weekly delight, where history's treasures take flight. Led by Mayhem, Longwood, and Joe, they explore the past, row by row. Navigator Longwood charts the course, guiding listeners to knowledge's source. Cartographer Joe, with maps in hand, unveils the secrets of time.
Hey, welcome to our 200th episode. 200 we've been doing. Davey, do you feel any older? I don't feel any older, but that's okay. And as you can see, we have a few. We may have a few others signing in. We're waiting to see. But sitting here on my right is Mr. Leon, also the quartermaster of the St. Augustine Swashbucklers, but a veteran. And we'll be talking with him. And as you can see, the small face down there inside, wearing a red hat, that is Mr. George Gonzo Gonzalez, and also a veteran. We have worked some good things together and had some good times. So we're just going to do some veteran stuff here, and almost everything that we do tonight will be based on history of veterans and everything else. And of course, we do want to say, and I guess that means we have to be nice to Gonzo. We do want to say happy birthday to the Marine Corps, the United States Marine Corps, 250 years.
Our proud dozen.
Hoorah! Hoorah! Leathernecks and all. So before we get off into anything else, let me just ask you this, Gonzo. Have you do you know Michelle Murillo?
I'm going to say no.
Okay, she's a reenactor. She's a reenactor from ages back. Her and I have been friends for 19 years. She's the one that's been doing a really good series of American Revolution newscasts. And she did a part 1 and a part 2 on the birth of the Marine Corps. I'll find the links and send it to you. I think you'll find it quite interesting. And if you really are into the history of the Marine Corps, which I'm sure you are, you'll enjoy it. But for now, we should tell everybody how they can find us. And that's it right there, our YouTube channel. There's the QR code. You can find us. If you would like us, follow us, and let's see, like, follow, and subscribe. There it is right there. I always forget. I can't get all 3 of them. But if you do all 3 of them, and you can even join on the YouTube channel with a monetary donation of a monthly fee. And that actually will get you either through YouTube, a monthly fee, or through Patreon. You can either one of those, and that entitles you to be a part of our members only show, which 2 weeks from tonight is our members only show. And I haven't even told Davey who's going to be on the show, but I'll go ahead and announce it now. He's been on our show before. He is a noted sword player and historian on boarding tactics and sword play in both pirates and the Navy. His name is John Lennox. Oh, cool. And he was in town this week to celebrate his birthday. So I bought him a drink at the St. Augustine Seafood Company bar, and we talked about him being on the show. He will be streaming in on that show 2 weeks from now because he's in Michigan, but the whole show is members only, talking about swords and weapons of a bygone era. So if you want to join us for that, I think you'll have a good time with it. It'll be a good show. And you can even come over here and sit and do it here if you want.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, you don't have to stream in. George, if you get your vehicular issues fixed, you could come up here and sit with us if you want.
Nope, that will not be an issue.
All right, very good. All right. So we'll see what we can do. So first on our list is Joke of the Week with Mini Mayhem. And judging by Gonzo's face, he could use a good joke. Go ahead, Minnie. Bring it up to us.
Ahoy, mates. Mini Mayhem here with Joke of the Week. Sponsored by our cartoonist friend Travis Rami of Salt City Comics. What do you call a grumpy fish? Think about it, and I'll give you the answer at the end of the show.
I would call a grumpy fish Leon.
Yes. I would have to agree with that one.
And it's by the way, it's also Leon's birthday today, and he's 61, so he has a right to be grumpy now.
Get off my lawn. I was also got called into work. They haven't called me in 6 months. I get called in today, so my voice is a little rough and squeaky. Oh,
Well,
lubrications.
Medicinal purposes. There's Gene. I see Gene there popping in. Now you know why the rum is gone, because we need medicine.
Yes.
We need medicine. All right. All right, let's see. This week in nautical history, Davey, and that's sponsored by our good friends at Ancient City Sirens. And we're hoping that Melinda will pop in on the show tonight also. She is a veteran of the United States Army and a medical person from the United States Army, but she's also part of the Ancient City Sirens. So if she does pop in, we'll have her on board with us too. But for now, Davey, go ahead and hit this week in nautical history, please.
This week in nautical history, November 10th, 1944, ammunition ship USS Mount Hood exploded at Seadler Harbor, Manus Admiralty Islands. November 11th, 1688, Prince William of Orange's invasion fleet sails to England. November 12th, 1928, British steamer Vestris, sailing from New York City to Uruguay, capsizes and sinks off Hampton Roads, Virginia, kills 111, including many women and children. November 13th, 1854, New Era sinks off New Jersey coast with loss of 300. November 14th, 1941, British aircraft carrier Ark Royal sank in the Mediterranean, having been torpedoed by a German submarine the day before. November 15th, 1720, pirates Anne Bonny, Mary Read, and Calico Jack are captured by Captain Jonathan Barnett and brought to Spanish town of Jamaica for trial. And finally, on November 16th, 1882, British gunboat HMS Flirt fires at and destroys villages of Aberi and Asaba on the Forcado River in Niger, in retaliation for attack on British-owned factory that left 5 Brits missing. And that was this week in nautical history.
Good job, Davey. I'm going to add one more to it, and I just found that out. What I'm about to tell you about 30 minutes before the show. Any of us that are into the pirate side of our lives may know who Howard Pyle was, the artist. We have some of the artwork in the museum. Mm-hmm. Howard Pyle, yesterday was the anniversary of his passing in 1911, I believe it was, 1911. And he's very famous for many pirate scenes in his painting and his work. And we have 2 of his pieces of work displayed in the Hollywood section of Pirate and Treasure Museum, St. Augustine. Just an extra one that I found out about earlier. I wish I'd have caught it quicker, but there we have it. So what's our quote of the week? Before we give it, though, let's talk about Spyglass Travel. Spyglass Travel is a great company that gives you a walking tour of St. Augustine, and it is a good walking tour. It is more than an hour's worth of walking, so it's good cardio, because every one of us needs a little of that, and you get some real good history along the way. So if you need a good tour, Spyglass Travel. I see Strong Bear just signed in, and Miss Jean signed in. That Miss Jean on the list there, that is Leon's better half.
Much better half.
Much better half. Very good. And let's see. And I see my son, History with Mr. McRae is on board. I appreciate that. And there's Melinda. Hey, a cheer to Melinda there. A veteran of the United States Army. Very good, and welcome aboard.
Thank you.
And now your other half, he's somewhere overseas right now, right?
Yes, he is. He just had to take him to the airport today.
Well, we missed him by 1 day. Well, just sit tight, join with us, make comments as you like, or look grumpy like Gonzo there, and we're good to go. And and let's go ahead and throw that quote of the week up there, Mr. Davey. It is an unfortunate fact that we secure peace only by preparing for war. John F. Kennedy. That's a good one. I like that one. And since we have other people here on board, what do you think?
I like it. Definitely like it, and it's very factual.
What do you think there, Mr. Gonzo?
It's the truth. You got to be prepared at all times for the inevitable at times.
Absolutely. And I'm going to ask Melinda, but before I ask Melinda, because of her job in the Army, she had to take care of the aftermath of such things. Isn't that correct, Melinda?
Yes, I was an Army nurse.
Yeah. So the other one, there's another one that's similar, and I think it's Ronald Reagan that said peace through strength. Was he the one that was his, right? I believe
Yes.
it was him. Yeah, peace through strength.
Churchill said something like that too.
Yeah. Strong Bear is a vet of the U.S. Navy. Gonzo, you're off the hook now. So we have the Army, the Navy, the Marine Corps, the Air Force, and the Coast Guard. We have everything but the Space Command. And I don't know anybody in the Space Command yet.
They're too young yet.
Yeah, they're too young.
I don't think any of them retired yet.
Davey, how many 8 bells do we have? Do we have a lot?
6.
6, all right. Go ahead and throw them up there. I'm going to, yeah, I should say that. Marco's Pizza is a sponsor of 8 bells, ladies and gentlemen. If you want a really great pizza, the wife and I have been doing Marco's Pizza about 3 times a month now, because there's just some nights where I just don't care to cook and do anything, and neither does she. And they make some really good food, and it's wonderful. Her favorite is the garden. Mine is the all meat. But you can now get, believe it or not, Marco's Pizza has pizza in a bowl. It's everything that goes on the pizza without the crust. And that is pretty good. But Marco's Pizza is our sponsor for this. So let's do 8 bells. I'm going to have to raise it up here, see if I can get it bigger. There we go. Diane Ladd, born Rose Diane Ladner, an American actress. She appeared in over 200 films and television shows, receiving 3 Academy Award nominations for her role in Alice Doesn't Live Here Anymore, 1974, Wild at Heart, 1990, and Rambling Rose, 1991, the first of which won her a BAFTA award. She was also nominated for 3 Primetime Emmys and 4 Golden Globe Awards, winning 1 for her role in the sitcom Alice. She was 89 years old. Gerard Scott, better known by his stage name as Scott Sorry, an American singer-songwriter. Prior to being a solo artist, Scott played with Amen, the Wild Hearts, Sorry and the Sinatras, and briefly Brides of Destruction. He was 47 years old. Wow. Marie Elizabeth Riva. Get that back up there, please. Thank you very much. There we go. Was a German-born American actress and memoirist, the daughter of actress Marlene Dietrich. She worked on television at CBS in the 1950s, during which she received numerous television acting roles and was twice Emmy nominated. She published a memoir on her mother in 1992. She was 100 years old. Wow. Richard Bruce Cheney, an American politician and businessman who served as the 46th Vice President of the United States from 2001 to 2009 under President George W. Bush. A member of the Republican Party, Cheney previously served as White House Chief of Staff for President Gerald Ford, the U.S. Representative from Wyoming at large Congressional District 79 to 89, and as the 17th United States Secretary of Defense in the administration of George H.W. Bush. He was also considered by many to be the architect of the Iraqi War. He was 84 years old. Jay Stein, an American businessman who was the chairman and CEO of MCA Records, Music Corporation of America, Recreation Services Group. He was responsible for expanding the Universal Studios Hollywood tour, opening the Universal Amphitheater, acquired the Yosemite Park and Curry Company, and operated the concessions within Yosemite National Park, and founding the amusement park and resort complex Universal Studios Florida. Stein was assistant studio manager before being tapped to run the tour in 1967 due to his relationship with the creative folks at the studio. When he took over, the studio tour consisted of 2 trams and a Quonset hut on Lancashire Boulevard. Stein retired in 93. He was inducted into the IAAPA Hall of Fame in 1991. He was 88. Donna Jean Thatcher Godchaux, an American singer, best known as a member of the rock band The Grateful Dead from 1972 to 79. In addition to the Dead, she performed with Jerry Garcia Band and the short-lived Heart of Gold Band, all alongside her first husband, Keith Godchaux. She performed the Donna Jean Godchaux Band in 2006, and she was 78 years old. Those are our 6 for this time frame. If you have a drink, raise it. And Davey, let's hear 8 bells for those that we honor. Having Dick Cheney in there gives me a thought for a question that I'm going to throw out there. We don't have to answer it just yet. I'll just put it this way. I met Dick Cheney more than once. But in any of our military careers, as one of our questions when we start talking, I'm going to ask if any of you had any, even just the mildest of a handshake with anybody of note in our history. So keep that in mind as we move along. And we go right into not 8 bells. We did 8 bells. We're going right into This Week in History. And This Week in History is sponsored by Dick's Wings. You want a really good hamburger on Tuesdays? Boy, they make a good hamburger for the price. I'll tell you that. Dick's Wings, and they have everything that you can imagine, including wings. And they've expanded their menu. We were just in there 2 weeks ago. I still owe Davey his birthday burger. We haven't done that yet, so we got to get that taken care of. But for now, let's have This Week in History.
Where does the captain take his hungry crew for a good lunch special? Why, Dick's Wings. Daily lunch specials even a pirate could afford. Why, look, a table filled with flavors and tastes for even the most discriminating of pirates. A great lunch and a great time is always had by all at Dick's Wings, St. Augustine, Florida, US 1 South.
We begin This Week in History on November 10th, 1989. Germans begin demolishing the Berlin Wall. November 11th, 1864. U.S. Civil War. Union General Sherman's troops destroy Rome, Georgia. November 12th, 1966. Buzz Aldrin takes the first space selfie, a photo of himself performing extra-vehicle activity in space during the Gemini 12 mission. November 13th, 1940. Walt Disney's animated film Fantasia, starring Leopold Stokowski, the Philadelphia Orchestra, Mickey Mouse, and ballet dancing hippopotamuses, premieres at the Broadway Theater, New York City. November 14th, 1883. Treasure Island by Robert Louis Stevenson is first published as a book by Cassell and Company. November 15th, 1969. An estimated 2 million people take part in the Vietnam War moratorium demonstration across the United States. And finally, on November 16th, 1933, U.S. President Franklin Roosevelt establishes diplomatic relations with Russia. And that was This Week in History.
Very good, Davey. Here's a little added extra for all of you about Treasure Island, written in 1883. It was a series, believe it or not, it was a series of short stories in a boys' magazine in England in 1881 through 1882. And it was like a serial. So it would each story would lead into the next one. And somebody convinced one of Robert Louis Stevenson's friends convinced him that it could be put all together into a book, and that's how it got created into Treasure Island in 1883. Believe it or not, there's a little extra tidbit for you. How about that? All right. So I did not do a shot across the bow for this week for a couple of reasons. One, there's like several things I'm mad about. I didn't want to worry about it. It's just, and I'm getting ready to go into the holiday season here, and I want to keep a good spirit. So I just decided to leave it alone. So on the horizon, I don't have anything to share with anybody except that our show on the Monday before Thanksgiving will be a members only show with John Lennox. There we go. Thank you, Davey, for throwing that up. So we don't do a show on the 1st of December. We'll do another members only show on the 8th. Let's see. Yeah, the 24th says it's a Thanksgiving show, but it will be a members only show. The 8th will probably be a members only show. Also, we'll do a Christmas themed show on the 15th. There'll be a pre-recorded show on the 22nd, so we don't have to worry about things that week. And then our live show at Dick's Wings on the 29th. Gonzo, I hope you can come up. It's a Monday night. Come up and hang out and have a drink with all of us. It's kind of a social time, but it's also the time that we turn around and give some of our charity checks out. But you'd be more than welcome to come back and come up and hang out with us if you like.
I'm not going to be able to make that one. I've got family and friends coming in for the holidays at that time.
Well, understandable. As we always say, I always say this, when we have events, when our crew has events, there are like 3 things that I accept as very good, valid reasons for not attending: family, health, job, or school. So it sounds like it's family and your health is doing good. So, okay, we'll let it go at that. 9. So that puts us to great things happening. Haven't really done a whole lot over the last couple of weeks because, well, everybody's getting into the holiday spirit. I will tell you this, if you want a good ride with Santa Claus, I happen to know the guy, and he'll be doing some rides all through St. Augustine. I'll share this with you. I was supposed to do only about 118. It is now 144.
Wow.
Oh,
Yeah.
You get frequent flyer miles.
I don't know what I'm going to do, but hey, we'll see how it goes. Yeah. So on that note, though, I'm more interested and anxious to get to our guest and anybody else at our, where'd it go? There it is. And our other people. There's Lisa Moore.
Captain, do you want to throw the history channels why we celebrate Veterans Day?
Yeah, why don't we do that first to kick off what we're doing? While you play that, I'll go back and look and see who all is in here, so I make sure we don't miss anybody in our comment section.
All righty.
Go ahead.
Soldiers from wars both old and new march down city streets. Flags hang from homes, businesses, even car antennas. Ceremonies remember those who dutifully served their nation. It's Veterans Day, or Remembrance Day, as it's known in much of the world, a time to honor members of the armed forces. And it all began in a railroad car with a document to end the war to end all wars. World War I, also known as the Great War, shocked the global community with its unprecedented toll in human life. Untold millions were killed. Germany was running low on manpower and supplies, so they agreed to sign an armistice, or truce, in the French commander Ferdinand Foch's private rail car. On the 11th hour, on the 11th day of the 11th month of 1918, all was quiet on the Western Front. The fighting had ended. Exactly 1 year later, President Woodrow Wilson decreed that Americans should observe a moment of silence at 11 a.m. to remember the armistice and to embrace the peace. Other Allied nations commemorated the peaceful anniversary as well. In England and Canada, citizens wore paper poppies. Poppies had become a symbol of the armistice. The poem Flanders Field described a one-time battlefield. In Flanders Field, the poppies blow, between the crosses, row on row. In America, the nation's first unknown soldier was laid to rest at Arlington National Cemetery on Armistice Day, 1921. He was a casualty of the Great War. Since that first memorial, other unknown soldiers from America's wars have been interred in the tomb. And it's become tradition for the president or one of his representatives to lay a wreath on the monument every November 11th. A resolution was passed in 1926 inviting all Americans to remember Armistice Day and the soldiers who fought so hard for peace. The idea caught on. By 1938, the day was marked with so many ceremonies and parades, Congress made it a legal holiday, giving people the day off work. After World War II and the Korean War, Americans wanted to open up the holiday to include not just World War I veterans, but all who served in combat. In 1954, President Dwight Eisenhower, a World War II vet himself, legally changed the U.S. Armistice Day to Veterans Day, honoring those who served in all American wars. For a brief time starting in 1971, Congress moved the holiday to the fourth Monday in October, giving Americans a 3-day weekend. But most people rejected the idea. The traditional date of November 11th, the anniversary of the Great War's ceasefire, was too historically important to forget. President Ford reversed the law in 1975, returning Veterans Day back to its rightful date. Over the decades, the holiday has changed with the times. Originally, it was a call for world peace. Then in the U.S., it became a day to remember war veterans. Today, Veterans Day is set aside to honor not just those who served in war, but also those who have served their nation in peace.
Good job, Davey. Good job. So we have 3 holidays during the year, or 3 recognition days: Veterans Day, Memorial Day, and what's the third one?
Labor?
Was that?
Patriots Day.
That's it.
Don't they call it Patriots Day 9/11 now?
Yeah.
I think so, yes. So in some way, shape, or form, all of these days are meant to honor those. Veterans Day is meant to honor all of those. Memorial Day is meant to honor those that have passed.
You know, there's Armed Services Day.
Armed Services Day also, yeah. So let's start with, and I saw this, thanks for popping that up there, Davey. I saw this earlier too. Did you know that Alabama, Raymond Weeks led the charge to make Veterans Day a national holiday to recognize all veterans? The first national parade was in Birmingham. Aye, very good piece of extra history there. So let's start with ladies first. Melinda, tell everybody what your service was, what you did, and the time, your inclusive years of service.
Okay, well, after I got out of college, Mark and I were already married. I had always wanted to join the military, and Mark was hesitant at first, but I guess I kept bugging him about it. And one day he said, back in 1980, okay, if you want to do it, go for it. So I literally ran to the recruiter's office to sign up before he changed his mind. So my first duty station was at Fort Bragg, and I was in the Army Nurse Corps. I did my training at Fort Sam Houston, and so I was a medical surgical nurse at Fort Bragg, and then I was stationed at Fort Polk, and from there I applied to take the OR nurse course at Fort Sam Houston. So I became an OR nurse my last year in the Army. Then we were at that point in my life was, are we going to have a family, or am I going to do a career in the Army? I didn't want to have to do both. So God made the choice for me. I got pregnant, so I got out. But when Tiffany became 2 years old, I went back as an Army Reserve nurse in Miami and did that for a year. And then I was in active reserve duty after that. And then in 1990, when I was pregnant with my 3rd child, I got called to duty during what they called, it wasn't, what was it, Gulf Storm?
Was that Fox?
Oh, Desert Shield. It was called Desert Shield. We were getting
Desert Shield.
Yeah, for the war in Iraq. And so I did 2 weeks duty there. And then after that, I got out. So
how much time total did you give of your life to Uncle Sam?
5 years.
5 years. Very good. All right. So, Mr. Gonzalez, you were in the United States Marine Corps, and I saw a picture of you. You posted a picture of you, a very young picture, in your BDUs. And so tell us about your time in the United States Marine Corps.
I basically grew up in Newark, New Jersey, which was not the nicest of places. And I decided I'm not going to stay here. And I figured, well, if I'm going to go somewhere, I'm just going to, that explains a lot. So it was like, I'm either going to get shot on the street, but I said I'd rather get shot serving the military. So 6 days after I graduated from high school, I went to boot camp. After boot camp, I was in Camp Lejeune at engineer school. I was a combat engineer. My first duty station was, I was stationed in Oak. Yes.
That was
and then after Camp Lejeune.
Go ahead.
Okay. So then after that, I was in Okinawa. From Okinawa, I was deployed to the Philippines for a while. And then from there, I came back to the States where I was stationed at Camp Lejeune. From there, I was deployed to, it was called Operation Bold Wedding. And I went to Norway, Denmark, Germany, and then I was stationed in several places. So I served from 84 to 88.
Very good. Wow. A question I did not ask. Melinda, what was your highest rank you attained?
Captain.
Captain. And George, what did you attain?
I made it to a corporal, and I was lucky I did that.
All right, so next on the list, let's have Davey tell everybody what he did. He was in the Coast Guard. Go ahead, Davey.
Yep. So before I graduated high school, my dad said, I think the Coast Guard would be a good move for you. He was in the Navy in the Korean War. So I said, okay. So he pretty much forced me into it, but I'm happy I did it. So I went to basic training in Cape May, New Jersey. After that, I was stationed at New Bedford, Massachusetts, to serve on the Coast Guard cutter Unimap. I was in there I was in the service from 81 to 85, and I got out as an E4.
What was your job in the Coast Guard?
Bosun's mate.
Bosun's mate. All right. And next we have Mr. Leon here. Your turn on the barrelhead.
Are you ready?
Aye.
I got a weird career. It's all Army and Army National Guard, but it was 20 years.
Oh.
2 years active duty as a 19 Delta Scout. Then got in the National Guard as a SHORAD, which is Short Range Air Defense. And we still had the old M42 Dusters when I joined up in the Guard, which is like Victory at Sea, where they're putting 40 millimeter clips into the guns and they're shooting out. Think of that, but on a tank chassis.
Yeah.
Then I made it up to E5 there, and which is sergeant, and then became a cadet because I was in ROTC in college at the same time, using my GI Bill. Got commissioned, became a tanker, went to Korea for a year. Then after Korea, went back to Fort Knox and was there for the rest of my time. And then got out of active after 4 that time. So that's 6 years active duty. And then got back in literally snuck into my old Guard unit here in Florida that I used to be enlisted in. Literally snuck into it. I had to come up here and talk to a colonel up here at headquarters in St. Augustine to stay in. And he looked at my paperwork and said, "You got pretty good paperwork, Cecila." And literally, he said, well, not literally this. He said, "Don't F up, son." that was my introduction back into the National Guard. But by that time, I already had another platoon of my own. Stayed in that unit for many years, and then did the fires in '98, did the hurricanes in, let me see, one was the hurricane, I don't remember when that one was. Then the fires in '98, I was actually activated in my home county of Volusia for that, and got to meet Vice President Gore, as far as famous people you meet. Shook his hand at the Emergency Operations Center. Then it was either transfer or get out. So I got promoted to captain and moved to the 32nd Army Air and Missile Defense Command, which was in Orlando at the time, which was a weird unit. It was 2/3 National Guard and 1/3 active duty out of Fort Bliss, Texas. And it was echelons above Corps, air and missile defense for the theater commander. So that was very, very early of the guys shooting the missiles out of the sky as they were coming in. And when 9/11 happened, my unit was a tripwire unit. 9/11 happened, and as a National Guardsman, by October 12th, I was sitting in the Prince Hilton Air Base as a current operations officer for our little slice of things. And then retired in 02 with 20 years.
In other words, he just could not find a home. He just
But I outlived the algorithm, so now they're giving me retirement pay.
That's true. That's true. Absolutely. So I'm the oldest of everybody that's on board here right now. I don't know.
You're not.
What? Wait a minute. You are older than me.
I am the oldest.
Yeah, you are the oldest. Now I have to be nice to you because you're my elder.
Hey.
I started in 77. I graduated high school in 76. I tried to go to college for 1 year, but the college I was going to was a community college, and part of the campus was on the beach. You can well imagine I probably did not attend class very often. So I went down to the recruiter station and signed in for the Air Force. I had to wait for a little bit. And then I left home in May of 77. And so I'll just give you, instead of all the years, I was in 77 to 91. I did Quantico, Virginia, Misawa Air Base, Japan, the Pentagon, the White House, Andrews Air Force Base, Area 51, Korea, Davis Mountain, and then I got out with time in service served, 16 years and a month. And there you go. So I think all of us, no matter how much time we have, I have to agree here. I'll just say that Gene said it right. I'm going to post that right there. Yeah, you've earned that right to brag. I think everybody that does military time, short or long, they all earn the right to brag. What do you say there, Mr. Gonzo? You believe me?
That is very true. And if you look at the pirate community overall, a large part of it is either ex-law enforcement or ex-military or both, like myself.
And I'm going to tell you.
Lisa came in.
Lisa, yeah, Lisa's there. Officer, there's Lisa. 2007 to 21 as a logistics officer and retired as a major human resources. Total time almost 22 years. Cheers to you, Miss Lisa. Cheers to you. So, Gonzo, based on what you said, I'm going to tell you something that I find extremely interesting amongst some of our pirates, reenactors. I don't have a whole lot of influx into the steampunk, but I can say reenactors and pirates. And I'm just going to put it this way, using myself as an example. I'm not a captain. I am the captain of a pirate crew, but you can tell the difference between the military and the police officers as opposed to those that have never done that kind of thing, because they all understand the hierarchy. Even if we're in a pretend situation, which we're in a pretend situation, but they understand the hierarchy. They understand that somebody's making a decision for this group to do something. And I have my quartermaster. It was an officer. Melinda was an officer. Her husband was an officer, but they still treat me with the respect, and I never was. I made it to E6, and that's as far as I went. But I truly appreciate that mentality that military people and police officers, sheriff's deputies, I really appreciate that mentality because that's what makes most of the crews stand strong and are able to be successful. And I leave that as an open comment for anybody to go ahead and say something now.
You'll always be Captain to me.
Well, cops are always buttheads. But what were you saying, Melinda?
I said you'll always be the captain to me.
Well, I appreciate that. I do. Gonzo, weren't you a cop also?
Yes. In New Jersey.
Yeah, in Jersey you were a cop. It's a good thing you're not
Yeah.
in Jersey anymore.
No,
Yeah.
I did that after I got out of the Marine Corps. When I moved back to New Jersey after I got out of the service.
So, Lisa, you were in the Army, or you were in the Navy, right?
No, she was Army.
Was she? You were Army,
Yeah.
logistics officer. Okay.
She retired as National Guard.
Okay. All right. Very good. I always try to make sure I keep track. I see somebody up here that said enlisted. Oh, there she was right there. You enlisted and made it to staff sergeant, and then you became an officer. And in my opinion, in my experience, the officers that I had to deal with in the military that were first enlisted and then became officers, they were much better officers.
No, I agree.
They were
They
the
were much
best.
better officers. What's that?
So they were the best. My dad
That
was
is-
one of them. Started out as a buck private and worked his way up to captain.
Yep. You agree, Gonzo?
That was absolutely true in the Marine Corps. The best guys were the guys who served, enlisted, then went to either officers or they were warrant officers as well.
Yep. It's because they lived and worked in the trenches with the guys, and so they understood. That's. I said at the beginning of the show we wouldn't make this political, but I'll make a slight political statement. I believe if you look at our history, and I'll use Melinda's because she's a little older than I am. So our history and knowledge of presidents goes back to JFK,
Abraham Lincoln.
not Abraham Lincoln. I remember JFK. Melinda, you remember JFK, right?
Yes, I do. As a child, I do remember what happened.
Okay, so I believe fully that any of the presidents from JFK, and before JFK it was Eisenhower, wasn't it?
I believe so.
I believe it was Eisenhower. I truly believe historically that any president that actually served in the military has always made a better president. Now there are going to be a lot of people that will argue with me on that statement, and it's purely a personal opinion. But if you go back and look, there may be an exception to the rule here and there, but I think some of the ones that served their military time, JFK was in the Navy, Eisenhower was in the Army. But if anybody can speak up and prove me wrong if you want. It's okay.
Somebody who served in the military is more apt not to send guys into battle because they realize what that is. You know what I'm saying? And they've got the experience of being in battle, of being in the military. They're more apt to make a way better leader.
Absolutely. I believe so. They have experienced it. What do you think, Melinda?
I totally agree with that. I really think that they should have some experience in the military before they become president, but that's my personal prejudice.
I totally agree. Totally. You do, huh?
Totally agree.
It's kind of a Starship Trooper thing, but yeah, service means citizenship.
Yeah, and that is a Starship Troopers thing. I've had conversations with other people that whole thing was. Let's see, that's Robert Heinlein, right?
Yes.
Robert Heinlein had this idea, this concept that those that served their country were the ones that were also allowed to vote. You earn that privilege to vote by serving your country. It's not a bad idea, but I don't think it would ever go over.
I don't think it
anywhere.
would fly at this point.
It wouldn't fly at this point for sure. So, Melinda, what was your most favorite assignment?
Oh wow. My first assignment When I was a medical surge nurse at Fort Bragg. Really
What
good.
about you, Gonzo?
My boss,
I think. Okay, go ahead.
Captain Stess, is one of those officers that started out as a buck private, and then he went through the Rainbow program in RN, and he was like one of the best I ever had, and he really, really understood the soldier's plight. I really enjoyed working under him, so that was my favorite assignment.
All right, Gonzo, what's yours?
I think my favorite assignment was when I was stationed in Okinawa. I got to see a lot and do a lot, and we were in the Philippines, which was a pretty amazing experience there. So to me, it was eye-opening, because at that point in my life, I'd never been overseas. Next thing I know, I'm in Japan, then I'm in the Philippines, and I got to experience the culture and the people there. So to me, that was pretty eye-opening, especially in Okinawa, where there's a lot of World War II history. I remember going to like the suicide cliffs and the suicide caves and taking all that, and now we're snorkeling off of Camp Schwab, and we actually could see Japanese Zeros off the beach. We weren't allowed to go near them, but you could see that, and it was just like such an intense history there of what happened there, of the people who served way before me,
You make
that
a
was,
really good point, but before I bring the point up, it would only be fair to ask Davey, what was your favorite assignment?
Believe it or not, it was my first one out of New Bedford, Mass, being on the Coast Guard cutter ship, Unimac.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that.
And what about you? Because you had 20 years, you got to have at least one good one you like.
I've got two actually that I was thinking of since you asked. My first one as a 19 Delta Cav Scout on the Czech border during the Cold War, damn it. And learned a lot, had a lot of good people, had one really crappy lieutenant that made me say to myself, I could do a better job than this asshole. And that was one of the reasons I wanted to become a lieutenant. And then my next lieutenant was a Mustang who was enlisted before. He had been a drill sergeant before and still wore his drill sergeant patch as a butter bar. So you know how much crap he used to get from the officers. But Leo Thrush, matter of fact, I called him before I retired. And that was a great experience. And then having my own tank platoon in Korea, having my own guys, that was great.
Let's do this too, because we have some people that are in. So I'm going to ask right now while I'm looking. Lisa, tell us what was your favorite assignment. You did 20 years, so tell us what was your favorite assignment, location or job itself. And I know that there was, let's see, Strong Bear is in there, and Blackball. Strong Bear, I know you were in the Navy. Did you do shipboard duty, and what was your favorite time? Yeah, there you are, the vet U.S. Navy. Strong Bear, 19. Tell me, we open the floor to all of you. This is a good one. Everybody knows this is my son. And throw natural rights out the door while we were at it. I am in awe of all of your services and give tremendous respect, but have to disagree.
You don't get a vote. According to Heinlein.
I will say this. It is because of what all of us do that gives everybody the opportunity to disagree. It's all right. But I'll throw this in while I'm waiting to see if Lisa and Strong Bear make a comment. I'll throw this at my son. Service to country doesn't necessarily always have to be military service.
No, it doesn't.
There are other things, and I'll give you a perfect example. And you can go.
A school teacher would be a good example, I think.
Hey, when we were in Japan, and your mother maybe she'll remember and she can tell you this. Everybody that comes out of high school in Japan has to do a certain amount of service to their country, and garbage collecting was one of them. So, and then when they did their service to their country, and I think it was 3 to 4 years that they had to do, they were all rewarded for it with free college and whatever else. So service to country is not just necessarily military.
No,
I mean,
not at
and
all.
John F. Kennedy had it. I mean, the Peace Corps was his concept of the whole thing. So it doesn't have to be military. Lisa says her most favorite and most dangerous, let me get that on there, was my short deployment to Kandahar, Afghanistan. I was able to help train the first Afghan women's police course in Kandahar. That
was a leadership challenge.
that
right
was a
there,
challenge
I'm
right
sure.
there. My goodness. Hats off to you there. This civics teacher thinks different. Well, I guess that's a good thing that we have the ability to think differently. I do not disclaim your thoughts. But maybe it's also just me pulling my pants up around my nipples and saying, hey, get off my lawn.
We do that now.
All right, was that your ship, Davey?
Yes, sir.
All right, very good. So yeah, I mean, but school teachers, law enforcement, fire, EMTs, those are all services to your country and or your community. Those are all things that are important. So it doesn't have to be military service, but we still do need a strong military, no matter what anybody thinks. We truly do. And my favorite assignment was probably Japan.
You like sake.
I do. I like sake. I like sushi. I also would say this. I did enjoy my assignment in Area 51 also for 5 years. But that's one that I don't really. And ironically, here's something really cool that happened. And this will bring up another question that I'm going to ask everybody. So I'll just lead it off. You ever had an actual really cool experience with somebody that you've run into or talked to, and especially because we're all do pirate stuff and stuff in the general community? So instead of me asking the question, I'm just going to tell you what happened. This past weekend, when I was doing a tour, there was a couple on my tour, and he was military, and he made a comment, and it caught my attention right off, because he would not have been able to make the comment unless he had been at Area 51. And it's not a comment he could have made by just reading something. He had to have been there. And we started talking, and then after the tour, we really started talking. And I had been at Area 51 from 80 to 85. He had been at Area 51 from 90 to 95.
Is that why you look a little green in the right light?
Well, in the right light, if you turn off all the lights, I glow. That's not. So I've had this isn't the first time I've had a really cool experience with somebody that is prior military, and maybe this is the way we put it. And then Gonzo, you're first. You can meet a military person, does not matter where you meet them, what military service they did, there is an instant camaraderie.
Exactly. That is exactly true. Even with people in law enforcement, there's something there that you just almost instantly recognize. You know, cops, I can always recognize somebody who was a cop for a long period of time because they walk a certain way. And here's the funny thing, because they always have a gun on their side, their gun arm always swings out wider than their other arm. That is a tell of an ex-law enforcement person.
There's a clip.
So, yeah, there's a camaraderie there.
It is. It's a camaraderie thing, and you can recognize it almost instantaneous. And then when you start to conversate with them, have a conversation, there is an instant. I've never had a dislike. There's always this instant mutual respect and a like for whatever we're talking about. There you go. And there's a video clip on YouTube. I saw it the other night. There's a guy, and he was some special forces. I don't remember which one, but he said, here are the 9 telltales how you can tell a person is in the military and he said 6 of them aggravate civilians to no end. And he's right. One of them, the one that I'm guilty of for sure, and I get teased at down at the Pirate Museum all the time. If I have a break between tours and it's a long enough break, I'll go upstairs, sit down, nod my head, and take a nap. I can sleep at any time, anywhere. And
That is true.
That is true.
Yeah,
It's very true.
I've got 2.
Gonzo, you can also tell because they carry everything with their left hand, leaving the right hand free to salute. Oh, that's a good point too.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. That is a good point. So let me ask you this. I'll ask Leon first. Do you have the same habit that when you go into a restaurant, you always have to sit to see the whole restaurant?
I do. Well, I've got 2. I didn't mention it in military service, but I was a lot of National Guard. Concurrent with my National Guard, I retired from the Sanford Police Department with 22 years. Gonzo knew that already because I met him through some mutual friends from Sanford PD.
Yeah. So, Linda, even as a nurse, do you have that military thing where you can't sit with your back to an open room?
Exactly, and it's funny because Mark and I will compete for that to avoid.
And Gonzo, having been Marine and police officer, are you the same way?
That is the truth. I always face the door because you never who's going to come in, and you always, it's what they call situational awareness. You have a situational awareness where you're analyzing everything that's going on, and you want to keep an eye if something goes wrong, what you can do either to alleviate the situation or respond to it. But it's a law enforcement military thing. You're always analyzing, looking, what advantages you have, what advantages you don't have.
And my wife can attest to this because once in a while we'll go into certain situations and I'll put my hand on her back and guide her into a certain direction when we're in a group of people or a large gathering of some type. Here's the other one, and I didn't realize this was a tell for military. But wait, first I didn't ask Davey. Davey, are you the same way? Do you have to keep your back?
I do. When I go in any place, I'm always looking at the different exits and the different, just out of habit.
Yeah, it is. Now here's one. I didn't realize this was a tell for military, but after he said it and after I looked at myself, I went, damn, our eating habit.
Yes.
When we'll sit down with any group of people and by the time we're done eating and they're just getting started.
Yeah, they're having nice conversations and we're eating like it's our last, like we're not going to eat again for a week.
I rebel at that one. That's exactly what I had to go through as a nurse because I couldn't even get a break to eat. So I would literally gobble my food down. Today, I rebel. I eat as slow as I want.
There you go.
Yeah, so those are the 3 tells I remember off that clip. Situational awareness, can't sleep, can sleep just about anywhere. I can sleep even when there's noise. I mean, the people down in the museum and then they say, well, we're tiptoe around you. I can hear you. I'm not in a deep sleep. I'm just in a restful sleep. So I can hear you because I'll hear them whispering, shh, he's sleeping. And once in a while I'll go, no, I'm not.
Not when I'm there.
Yeah.
I just go up there, well, what are you doing?
Yeah. So the military has really, in some ways, I would say the military has trained us for certain situations in life. But in other ways, if you actually want to be honest about it, it's warped us a bit.
Using military time freaks civilians out sometimes.
Oh, yeah. Lisa says you have a plan, a contingency plan for the contingency plan.
Yeah.
Yeah, you sure do. Hey, it's the same when you pack for shit going out on a trip somewhere. That was the other tale. That's the other tale. That just brought it up. The guy said you pack for everything you think's going to happen, and when you come back, you go, "Why did I bring half this stuff?"
Just
True. That is true.
I mean, And even when we go on do pirate stuff, when we go to
Look
Panama
at the
City,
trailer I've got now.
we're now using 3 trailers to get the crew to any event now, because there's some of us military guys that we're taking anything we think we need, and then we never end up using it. So there's 4 tells.
There's a saying, there's an old saying, there's an old saying, it's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yes, sir.
Absolutely. I totally 100% agree with that.
The captain
There's
speaks everywhere.
There is an example right there of the
All
captain
events.
taking a nap, and that was at probably the last seafood festival, was it, David?
Yes.
There you
have
go.
no problems doing that during the thing anytime.
Anytime. I have no problem with it. None whatsoever. Get that out of there. We don't need that. There we go. So let's see. Anybody throw something in? Go ahead. I'm looking at see if anybody's thrown anything in the comment section to make sure we're okay. If anybody's got something they want to say, throw it in.
I was thinking about being in a military family, moving around so much, about keeping everything, because you always think you're going to need it for the next place you live. So we're hoarders in some way.
Melinda, next time you're here at the house, will you tell my wife that, please?
Well, I'm guilty of it.
And my son says it must be generic because she says he can.
Genetic.
It is genetic. Oh, genetic. What did I say? Generic?
Yeah.
All right. So I'm generic. He eats fast and he always wants to sit where I can see everything. Yeah, it may be genetic, but some of your old man might have rubbed off on you somehow. That's just it. Yeah. So yeah, I keep things. Right, Gonzo, from what I hear at your house, you got a whole collection of stuff.
I got stuff from all of my travels and all over the place. Leon's been to my home. He can tell you.
Yeah, one of these days I got to get down there so we can have a drink in your bar.
I recommend the coquito.
Anytime. Yes.
Oh, yeah, the
It's that
coquito,
time
yeah.
of year. I'm probably going to make like 20 or 30 bottles.
Oh, excellent.
And Miss Jean there. Oh, wait. There it goes again. There.
She's
Should
moved
be-
so many times, she keeps it simple.
She's the opposite from moving so many times.
Yeah,
She keeps it simple.
All my crap freaks her out.
Yeah. Yeah. I can tell you this. When Leon started dating Jean, the minute we walked into his house and it was more organized, we knew it was a real thing.
Yeah, come see it at the New Year. It's going to be way different.
Yeah, I've seen some pictures already. It's going to be cool. So, let me throw this to you. You get to be first. What brought you to Florida then after all your travels and everything else? What brought you to Florida? Are you Floridian?
Are you throwing that to me?
No, to Melinda.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
okay.
My name. Well, what happened was my dad, who was in the Army, got an assignment to the Guard here in St. Augustine as an advisor. So when I was 6 years old, we moved down here to St. Augustine. And I loved it. And in my childhood, we moved in and out depending on his assignment. And when I was in high school, when I turned 16, my dad got orders to go back to Fort Bragg. And I was in the middle of 11th grade. I had my first boyfriend. I was in the Explorer post. I had my life. I had my plans. And now all of a sudden I'm going to be uprooted. And for the first time, I hated that. I loved the moving as a child. But that time in 11th grade, I hated it because I had my first boyfriend. We went back to Fort Bragg. And I said, come hell or high water, I'm coming back to St. Augustine. Well, 1992, Hurricane Andrew hit us when we were in Homestead, Florida. And I'm back here in St. Augustine. because of Hell and High Water. So, and I am so glad now.
I would ask Gonzo. Okay, so my son says, thanks to my parents serving because he was born in the nation's capital. That's absolutely true. My son and my daughter were both born on Andrews Air Force Base up in Washington, D.C. So, yeah, that's absolutely true. So, Gonzo, I'd ask you why you came to Florida, but knowing that you're from New Jersey, I don't think I need to ask.
No. My neighborhood is so horrible, and the place I grew up in Newark, New Jersey, which is not the nicest.
How horrible was it?
Pretty bad. Pretty bad. You know, but I rarely go back to visit. My cousin lives there. I still got a bunch of family there, and it's not for me anymore. Once you get out of that vicious environment, you don't want to go back. You know, yeah. I grew up right in downtown Newark, New Jersey, and I remember seeing stabbings, shootings, prostitutes, drug addicts everywhere, and it's like I don't want to be a part of that anymore. You know? Yeah, kind of like Sanford.
Kind of like Sanford.
Well, the way it used to be, it isn't quite as bad anymore.
So, Davey, what brought you to St. Augustine?
Mom and Dad had moved like about 5 years before that from Massachusetts. And Dad had talked to me, and my sister lives in Connecticut, and I think he wanted to have one of his children closer. I know they're happy now, but so he said he had a rental house and everything, so come on down. So I did. I wanted to change. I've been in Massachusetts most of my life.
Well, St. Augustine.
It was a shock.
What's that?
It was a shock
from
being up north coming down to St. Augustine.
Well, St. Augustine's my hometown, and a portion of our family has been a part of St. Augustine's history since before the 1800s. So a large portion of our family has been a part of Florida history since the 1780s. We can trace that in. So it's so Florida, I've always been a Florida boy. And so I'll tell you about my first assignment, and then you guys can throw one in if you want. This is based on the idea of a shocker. Like you were saying, Gonzo, your first assignment was really the Philippines, and it just was eye-opening, wasn't it? You saw a world in a different way.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So
you see a brutality.
Boy. Yeah.
Go ahead. You see, when I remember being in the Philippines and going on these hikes through the jungle and seeing people live in basically cardboard boxes with no electricity. I remember one time we went into this village and the only electricity was a World War II hand crank generator.
Wow.
And they would crank this thing up and they would sit around and watch a little TV, everybody in this little village. And then they were like, well, you got to worry about the local communists. I'm like, these people don't even have electricity. What are they? It was just, you see that and you see how people live overseas in a really poor country. And it's very eye-opening, very eye-opening.
So being a Florida boy, my first real assignment after I did basic training in Texas and then went to Quantico for my schooling, for my job in the Air Force, they sent me to Misawa, Japan. Misawa, Japan is on the northernmost point of the main island. And the first winter I was there, which was the winter of 77, the first winter I was there, and a cumulative 212 inches of snow. I've never seen snow really before in my entire life, especially like that. The first summer, it wasn't bad. It was kind of cool. But I stayed there for 3 years. And the second and the third, it was like, I think I've had enough of this. So it is. It's joining the military and then be sent to places that are completely outside of your shelter, so to speak. All right, let's see. Blackball, tabbing in and out while at work. Oh, that's okay, mate. No problems. Love my military people and thankful for your service. Went through, let me see here, get it up here. went through a military envy phase after high school, but recruiters told I was too tall for post I was interested in. That's a good one. I like that.
Yeah, but strangely enough, you were fine for the post they needed to fill.
Yeah, probably. Absolutely. Absolutely. So, a favorite and most dangerous was my short deployment to Kandahar. Yep, we did get that one.
Yeah.
Very good. All right. So, well, if anybody has anything else they want to throw in while we're thinking about it, I do want to share a couple of things with people. Davey, that QR code, throw that up there. If you have not tried this QR code goes to a website called ID Me. It is a website for military people, active, retired, prior duty, and they have all kinds of things that you can find that are discounted for military people. And every business and corporation offers all kinds of things on this website. It is really well worth it. You can find a lot of things on here. Sometimes you have to do a little bit of extra research because sometimes companies, I'll give you a perfect example. Some insurance companies tell you they give you a really good military discount, but if you go and look around, you can find it on your own because some of the companies don't really give you what they give you as good as you can go find on your own. But one of the benefits of this one, and then there's another website. Let me see if I can find it. I put it in here so I could share it with everybody. Hopefully I did this right. Davey will be so proud of me if I did this right. Let's see if I can find it.
We Salute.
We Salute. This is a good one here. That one there, wesalute.com. You can go on that one and they list stores and restaurants that will give you discounts, not just on Veterans Day, but they will give you restaurants will give you free meals or discounted meals or free appetizers or whatever. You have to do some searching, but they also stores.
The free military, the military
and
wallet.
This one here, military wallet is a good one too. Let's see if I can get that one there. It's not. There.
I don't know, with the weather tomorrow, Captain, I think I'm going to be just going from the couch to the coffee, hot coffee and the soup with the weather tomorrow.
Yeah.
Wind chill is supposed to be in the 20s tomorrow.
So the militarywallet.com, that's also a good one. GovX, Lisa's putting up GovX, that's a good one too. And if you're really interested, and I may take advantage of this because I've done it almost every year. See if it'll come up. There you go. Applebee's. Ladies and gentlemen, Applebee's gives every military member a free meal if you show up and show proof that you were military. And I've actually done this every year. Yes, Melinda, what'd you say?
Yeah, I've done that too.
And the Applebee's here in St. Augustine, they have all along the walls of the Applebee's here, they have scenes of St. Augustine. There is a huge, larger-than-life picture of Captain Mayhem doing the ring trick from a magic show I did years ago on the walls of Applebee's. Have you ever seen it, Melinda?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now, it's also the direct line of if you leave your table and you need to go to the restroom, that's how you can see me when you go to the restroom. I'm advertising on the walls of Applebee's on your way to the restroom. So I can say I've hit the big time. So those are good websites. And if you I'll try to make sure I post them along the way, and not just for tomorrow. Applebee's is tomorrow, but a military wallet and ID Me and GovX, like Lisa said, those are great places to go and find discounts of all kinds if you're military.
Oh,
it's very important. What's that?
Isn't downtown going to have some sort of discounts for the veterans to go to places? I know the fort's closed right now, but yeah, other tourist attractions.
There are some things downtown that might offer you something, but I haven't found a list of anything specifically St. Augustine yet. If you plan your day right, ladies and gentlemen, here's a thought. You can go to Denny's in the morning and get free breakfast. You can go to Wendy's at lunchtime and get a free lunch. Then you can go to Applebee's in the evening and get a free dinner. You can eat all day for free in St. Augustine at all three of those restaurants. And I might do it.
We got to find someplace doing shots.
Yeah. All right. So let's see. I think I've covered giving everybody some extra information. I think we've done really well. Davey, did you make any other videos? Wait a minute. You made a couple of cartoons. We haven't seen them yet. There you go.
Jeez.
So we've had a good time. We do have a couple other things we want to do. While everybody's thinking of a last comment, we'll do Joke of the Week with Mini Mayhem and reveal what the joke is, because I want to know what a grumpy fish is.
All right.
Okay, it's time for the answer to the joke of the week. What do you call a grumpy fish? The answer is a Krabby Patty. See, maybe Joe's getting crabby at that joke.
All right, I'm not sure I like that one. Andy made me laughing. All right.
Melinda's laughing.
All right. So, ladies first. Melinda, give us something. I don't know, words of wisdom. What you think? How you feel about being prior military or a veteran? Let's just say a veteran.
I am so glad I was able to do it. I personally think that everyone that is an American citizen should put some sort of service, maybe not military like you said, but I think it's an obligation that we should serve some time. You know, it's part of being an American citizen. I just think to be able to travel to other countries helps you to appreciate what you have in America even more.
I would agree with that, and I know my son would argue with that, but I will say in my son's defense, he has traveled to other countries before, and so he is different from some of the younger people. He's had the opportunity to see that, but I believe every American should have to experience the fact that most other countries don't have it as good as we do.
And
No,
I'm
they
so
don't.
true.
And I think that eye-opening experience would change people's their concepts of the way they vote and the way they support. And I'm completely positive it would change people's way of the way they protest. Now, I'm not opposed to protesting in any way, shape, or form. I believe that peaceful protesting is our right and our privilege. But a lot of the protests that we see on the news constantly, and I'm not saying one side or the other, I'm just saying all of them, many of them border crossing the line on the way they protest.
Yeah, that's true.
If you have to
Others
scream
aren't even sure
louder,
what they're really protesting about.
what's that, Melinda?
And they're not even sure what they're really protesting about.
No, sometimes you're not. And the other side of it is this: if you have to keep screaming louder and louder and louder, it just means you're not wanting to listen to both sides of the issue. Davey, give us a last thought. You and I have been working on this show 200 episodes now. Both of us veterans, but tell me something, or tell everybody something about what you think. And Lisa, we're gonna make you type something in there too. And Strong Bear, if you got something, if you're still there, type something also.
Even though it was my father's idea for me to go in, once I got in and served my time, I got out. I remember going back home, and a lot of my friends that graduated with me, but they went on to they didn't go into the military. All of a sudden, I found that they were still here, but I was like up here.
Yep.
This is the military service, and I was grateful that my dad had me go ahead and do that.
Good point. Gonzo, before I give you a chance to answer, I'm going to expand on what Davey just said. When I left home the first time, and you guys can all nod your head in agreement if you want, because I think it's going to be the same for all of us, on what Davey said. When I left home the first time in 1977, I did not come home until 1980. I did not even come back into the United States of America for 3 years. I was outside the country for 3 years. When I came home, back to Panama City, where my family was and where I went to high school, I for the first day or two kind of hung out with the guys I hung out with in high school, and I came home one of the evenings just so distraught and disappointed. And my dad was sitting on the back porch, and I sat down on the chair next to him. He handed me a beer, and he said, "Did you learn anything?" And I said, "Yeah, I think I did." And he says, "You've grown up. Most of them are still at home and they haven't grown up. They don't understand the ways of the world, and your friendship with them is over. It's done." And he said, "As long as you understand it, it won't hurt you." And he was right. And that's exactly what you were saying, Davey. You have elevated your life and your ideas higher than the people that we move on. We really truly do. Gonzo, before I give you another chance to say something, I am going to read Lisa real quick. Serving taught her that things will always change. If you don't like your assignment, give it time. Either you will move or whoever you don't like will move away. That's true. Here's the other one.
Amen.
Here's another one. And almost every military person I throw this at them, they all agree. You've only got 2 great assignments in your entire career, no matter how long or short it is. 2 great assignments. The one you're leaving and the one you're going to. All right, Gonzo, your turn. Give us some wise words.
When you serve in the military and you serve your community, you have a certain amount of pride, and you'll be walking up the street and you'll see something patriotic, or a house painted like an American flag, and it gives you a pride. You have pride in your country. You've served your country. You know what it means to sacrifice for your country. You have a level of pride that people who've never been in the military or any kind of service will never understand.
Absolutely true. Absolutely true. Davey, Leon, give us your words.
Well, it's real important to remember all that came before us. My dad, my grandfathers, my great-grandfathers. It's just all the vets, all the guys you can sit down and talk to about things. Because there's a lot of things that the old guys won't talk to you about when you're not a vet. But once you become a vet, then they'll talk to you.
Ah, that's a good point. Absolutely. And here's the other thing too. Gonzo, you haven't had the privilege yet of sitting in my fire circle. One of these days we will get you up here.
No.
But once in a while, Melinda knows it, Davey knows it, Leon knows it. Once in a while when we're sitting around the fire circle, the ones that stay longer are most of us guys that are vets. And we will start talking about things, but most of us never finish a sentence. We'll start to say something and everybody will give a nod or a grunt or a yeah. We raise a glass and take a sip and then move on to the next subject. So
that's true.
It is. It's an unspoken language too, and it goes back to what I told you earlier, Gonzo, and you agreed with me. You meet somebody else prior military in any way, shape, or form. It doesn't matter the age difference, the difference in branches of the service. There's an instant camaraderie. There's an instant conversation, and it's important, really important. And on that note, I do want to say one other thing. We should also make sure that not just the active duty military retired or prior, but their spouses and their families need to be commended too, because they put up with just as much. They're separated. They live in foreign countries at times too, if it's allowed. And so families and spouses of military and partners, I'll use the word partners too.
They're handling things that they thought they were signing up to have a partner to help out with, and they don't have a partner to help. The partner is gone.
And I'll say this. I'll raise my glass. My step grandson is in the Navy, and he'll be home in a couple of days after all his boot camp and training for school. And he's here for only a couple of days, so they can pack up my granddaughter and my 2 great grandbabies, and they are on their way to San Diego, California by I think the 21st. They're supposed to be in San Diego. He's been assigned to the Theodore Roosevelt aircraft carrier, a Nimitz class ship, and I'm very proud of him for stepping in. And so anybody that's new into the military, anybody that's old in the military, we raise a glass and say cheers and huzzah.
Fair winds and following seas to the new sailor.
Aye, there you go. Very good. Davey, why don't we go ahead and put up our video on our thank you video?
Okay.
A Captain's Quarters podcast is always searching the world for history, knowledge, and adventure. It takes a crew to run a podcast, so we would like to take this opportunity to thank those who help keep the podcast going.
The crew: Captain William Mayhem, Navigator Davey Longwood, Cartographer Mandy Joe. Our charities we support: Agla's Acres, St. Augustine Humane Society, and Inc. Investing in Kids. The 3 major charities for support, but always room for more. You too can be part of the crew and support the show in many ways. Go to our Patreon. For a small monthly contribution, become a powder monkey, first mate, or captain sponsor. Go to YouTube and hit the like and subscribe buttons to join our ranks and support the show. It does take a crew. Thank you.
Good job. And show our platforms, Davey. There you go. You can watch us on YouTube every Monday night at 8 o'clock, except when we don't have a show, but you can watch us anyway. And you can go to our YouTube channel and watch all the other 200 episodes. And I do not even have a clue how many shorts we have out there. I'm getting ready to add some more to it, so let's just have some fun. But you can catch us on Spotify, Instagram, Twitch, and Facebook also. If you just want to listen to us, because you don't want to look at my ugly old face, that's good for me. I'm good with that. Go to Spotify, Castbox, Stitcher, Twitter, Music, Amazon, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. You can catch us all the way around. It is a great show to have here, and I truly appreciate. We do not have our numbers, do we, Davey?
No, because Miss Mandy couldn't join us.
Yeah, Mandy was. Mandy had a huge weekend this past weekend. Lisa, we thank you for joining the show. Strong there. I didn't see much more. I hope you didn't get lost along the way. And to my son, and let me just throw out one more thing about my son. My son is going to have, with his lovely wife Lauren, they are about to have, well, in the new year 26, they will have another baby.
Aww.
And it is a little boy, and it is the first McRae born in at least 3, if not 4 decades.
Huzzah!
So the lineage of the McRaes continue on, and I'm very proud of that. So for now, though, Lisa, we thank you. It was a pleasure to have you join us. We thank you for your service. Mr. Gonzo, I thank you for your service. Actually, and I'm going to thank you for your friendship. We haven't been friends for very long, but it feels like it's been a pretty solid friendship since we have been. I appreciate that very much.
And I am honored that you think that way. And if you need anything from me, I'll back anything you do.
I appreciate it. I truly do. Melinda, it's always good to have you as part of the crew. You've been a good portion of our crew, you and your husband, Mark. We do appreciate it. And Davey, we can't do it without you. I'm learning, I'm trying, but I'm finding out that I'm not very good at multitasking at certain times. So it's a good thing to have you there. And Leon, it's always good to have you aboard. We are working on a couple of ideas for Leon to start teaching some leather craft on board our show. We'll work on that towards the new year because it's going to be pretty hectic for everybody for the next 2 months. On that note, I appreciate it. My son, my little Abby, loves me. I am Grandpa Mayhem to her.
Mayhem.
Grandpa Mayhem.
Yay.
So I'm very happy. Black Ball, thank you to you also. Cheers to those who served.
Thank you, sir.
Black Ball, I didn't see my brother online tonight, so I'm hoping he's okay. I'll have to call and check on him. But Black Ball and you and your crew, we look forward to seeing many of you here in March for the Order event. And Gonzo, did I hear a rumor that you might be doing some MC work for the event?
Yes, I was actually honored the other day. They asked if I would MC the event. Of course, I said yes.
Very good. You
Excellent choice.
Yeah, you owe me for that one. So when you make your plans, if you haven't been privy to it, when you make your plans, when we did the Order event in 22, the Sunday night, I hosted a relaxed party, no gear or anything else, at my home. And we provided all the food and the drink for all of the out-of-towners and anybody else that was here. And we're doing it again this year. And my brother and I are hosting it together as the only actual real blood brothers of the Order. So we are hosting a party that Sunday night. So try to make your plans so you can stay and be a part of that also.
And I bring in a bushel of oysters and we do them up different ways.
Yeah, we do oysters. We're going to do several different stews and chilies. There'll be plenty of rum here. I may have a couple of other things happening too. So make sure.
I'm pretty sure I could contribute. I can contribute to the event.
Very good. Well, you're pressed. Yeah, that too.
I've had it before at the man's house.
Okay.
I can definitely vouch for it.
So we're going to have a good time. There'll be cigars and good time, and we're laying out some canvas so that we have some cover in case the weather's bad, which it's usually not, but it gives us a little bit more cover, and we'll have a good time. So plan on that for that Sunday night of that first weekend. Okay, Mr. Gonzo?
I will.
All right. It was good to have everybody here. We can't do it without you. But Davey, how do we sound off the show?
Part of the podcast.
Part of the crew. Always. We can't do it without you. We can, but it's just not as much fun as you can see by having a group of people who all have like minds and like to talk and have a good time. So it was a pleasure to have everybody in the comment section. And it was a pleasure to have you, Melinda, and Gonzo, and Leon here. Davey and I thank you very much. And Davey, take us out.
With wit and charm they make it.